Logan Paul is a famous YouTuber, known best for his highly controversial career. We're just a couple days into 2026, and a new controversy has been unraveling. For almost a decade, every major scandal around him has followed the same rhythm. Something explodes, the internet turns on him, an apology follows, then, somehow, he comes back bigger than before. At first, this feels like luck, or timing, or even growth, but once you take a step back and look at the full timeline, it starts to feel less random and more intentional. Because this story isn't about bad decisions, it's about a pattern that keeps repeating. It's about evil business. Before we go any further, it's Sprint. I would really appreciate it if you guys could like and subscribe, it really helps out the channel. Now, back to the video. Logan started his social media journey through Vines, which were really popular back in the day. These were essentially short comedy videos just like TikTok. After a while, he started his YouTube channel and would start garnering a fan base. Logan's popularity skyrocketed after the Japan incident, where he would get a lot of press and negative attention. But to his credit, he turned that negativity to something positive in the long run. He got a big growth in audience and subscribers. It started to look like Logan made a mistake and changed himself to become a better person. But was this really the case? We have to go back and take a look at Japan and the whole aftermath of the incident. Logan and his friends went to a forest at the base of Mount Fuji, known internationally as a forest where people end their lives. In the video, exactly that happened. They came across someone's body, and instead of Logan stopping the video, he would continue filming like nothing happened, and showing his audience the terrific scene. The situation was horrific, and what made it worse was Logan cracking jokes with others.
Dwayne especially. My idol. My hero.
It is important to note, he said Dwayne is his idol, and he wants to be like him. Dwayne being of course mega famous off his hit movies and his time with the WWE, but also for his massive ego and fake personality. Over the years, fans started noticing these cracks, which ended up slowly killing The Rock's reputation, and Logan is following slowly in his idol's footsteps. Keeping a fake image never works out. Eventually, the person in question will show their true colors. In the case of Logan, it worked, well, for a bit, because the Japan incident happened late 2017, early 2018. After that, he would mainly work on his fake image. In late 2018, he would fight KSI in an amateur boxing match. This would be the start of something massive. This event would end up being a massive success, giving both YouTubers a massive boost in their career and opening them up to each other's fan bases. They would sell 1.3 million pay-per-views and have over 18k people watching it live. For reference, John Jones vs Daniel Cormier 2 would sell 860k pay-per-views. But it's important to note that the pay-per-views were sold for around $10. With this, Logan had a moment which would make or break his career, regardless if he won the fight or not. Let me explain why. He got a massive boost in visibility. If he could convince these people he is a likable dude, he could create an even bigger fan base which would stick with him after these bad times. So the first boxing match ended in a draw, and both agreed to a rematch. The rematch took place in England instead of America, and it would be a professional boxing match instead of an amateur one. But regardless of the decision, Logan's career was saved. He got a chance to redeem himself, and to create a character which is liked by the fans. He started his redemption and mainly stayed away from trouble. Some minor controversial takes on his podcast, but nothing too crazy. And it actually worked out. People started to like Logan. But the cracks in his character would start on January 4th, 2022. He would start a sports hydration company with his former rival KSI. They launched Prime in America and it was a huge success, selling out fast. They used themselves as marketing and really took over the world. But there were some problems. You see, Prime allegedly was artificially kept scarce early on, so it would look like there was more hype around the product than it really was. This would boost Prime's sales numbers, but it would damage their company in the long run. Secondly, the media seemed biased. Famous celebrities collaborating with KSI or Logan would get some Prime and would give it positive reviews, but it was on their platforms, such as Impulsive Podcasts or the Sidemen videos. If you want to have an honest review of a product, you need a third entity separate from the company which will give you a non-biased answer. So people coming to the Impulsive podcast will most probably say they like the drink because it's the product of Logan. And if they say we don't like it, they can edit it out or use it in a way where it still profits Prime by saying it's hating on a good product. And third, allegedly they lied about the ingredients used in Prime, which made it look like a healthy sports beverage. Logan would obviously defend Prime publicly, but the damage was done, and people would start seeing through the Prime facade. Their main goal was to get acquired by a bigger company to get a massive payday. But companies like Coca-Cola didn't even try to buy it. The desire to be bought out was said multiple times by Logan. We have to go, but it's obvious Coca-Cola understood what Prime was doing. If they don't get acquired, they would have been stuck with a company which was massively hyped. And this hype mechanism has been a reoccurring tactic Logan uses. Around this time, Casey and Logan would do a lot of joint ventures. One of these would be boxing on the same card. The main event being Casey versus Tommy Fury and Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis. Dylan would dig deep to find something he could use to bother Logan. He would find out Logan has a girlfriend named Nina Egdahl with long dating history. He would find a lot of pics of her with other men and would post these online. This obviously frustrated Logan, but he was suspiciously quiet and the fans noticed it. Everybody wanted to see how Logan would react because this fight became hella personal, and then it happened. Dylan and Logan came face to face and the fans were expecting fireworks from Logan. There were no sparks. The insults, corny. Logan, petty. The whole situation, cringe. Dylan became the hero in the story, which was crazy because Dylan was pretty hated before that because of his involvement in the brawl that took place following the UFC 229 main event. He was one of the very first who would call out Logan and his fake image. And he was the one who mentally broke him and gave the viewers a real glance at the real Logan. After the public chose its side, Logan knew he had to come up with something. So he and his wife would sue Dylan for his actions. But this would end up giving Dylan even more support from the fans. And the public narrative of Logan would start changing. And the only thing that could save Logan now is if he could severely punish Dylan in the ring. But the fight ended up being a clown show. It ended in a disqualification for Dylan, giving Logan the win, but in reality, a massive loss. Because he got humiliated so badly just for them to embarrass themselves in the ring. Another major scandal that haunted Logan for years is the CryptoZoo project. This was a crypto project where users would buy eggs with real money. These eggs would hatch into digital animals, like NFTs. Players could breed these animals to make hybrids. These were sold or traded, which earned the users ZooCoin. This project was heavily promoted by Logan, and it ended up raising $80 million, but it would end in a disaster. The CryptoZoo token crashed months after launch, once it became clear the promised game would never be delivered. And this was widely regarded as a pump and dump. People would accuse Logan for this, but if this is true or not, we will never know. But still, a lot of people would lose a lot of money, millions of dollars in exact. Internet detective Official would release a video about this, and which made Logan look even more like the bad guy. The sentiment was formed that Logan really uses his fans for money, selling them these products which are good for nothing and not caring for them at all. But the fans aren't the only ones being used. It started to look like Logan was using people around him to elevate him and to quickly change his public image to something positive. This was also the case when a famous YouTuber called Steve Will Do It came to the podcast. At first glance, you might think Steve is the problem. But what if the situation is something way worse? Steve is known to have an alcohol addiction, which naturally causes trouble. So in the podcast, Steve gets handed over a bottle of vodka, and he starts drinking pretty heavy. Now, mind you, the host is laughing with him and not stopping Steve. To go letting a known alcoholic drink heavy on a podcast is a recipe of disaster. Or is it? Logan decided to get a clip, which will garner him a lot of views and attention. And now, after entering 2026, the cycle has started its new life. A while ago, Logan got big into Pokemon cards, buying highly valuable cards like Pikachu's and Charizard. But after acquiring a lot of these assets and promoting them, he saw another way to make money off his audience. He partnered up with Liquid Marketplace, which is a company where you could own digital assets, like highly valuable collector cards. He massively promoted the company and even claimed to have a part ownership of the company. Simply said, it's a whole CryptoZoo situation wrapped up in a new package. The main way of promotion was that essentially you can own a card. So let's say I have a Pikachu worth $100 with 4 owners each having 25% stake. If we sell the card for $200, each owner would get $50. To get the hype train started, Logan decided to buy a PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card, which essentially is the holy grail of Pokemon cards, being worth $4.5 million. Giving fractional ownership to a lot of people. The estimated worth of the card today is somewhere between $7 and $12 million. It was said the card was about to hit auction and feature in collectible shows and channels, but this all without the knowledge of the factual owners. So the people were waiting for Logan's response, and then Logan tweeted his statement saying he bought the full ownership way back, making him the sole owner, and saying he was informed by the company that the payout was distributed between the co-owners based on the percentage of ownership they have. But many of the part owners never received the money they deserved. It is also rumored he bought the card back for $250,000, which could also mean he lied about the card being a PSA 10. Many Pokemon YouTubers have called this out in the past, saying it doesn't make sense that the card, which he owns, is a PSA 10. Logan once again escaped another scandal scratch-free, but his audience took the bullet once again. It's already bad to scam someone you don't know, but scamming someone your own audience is even worse. When we step back and take a look at Logan Paul's career, clear pattern appears. Controversy isn't something that just happens around him, it's something that repeatedly works in his favor. From Japan to boxing, to Prime, Cryptozool, his own podcast, and now the Pokemon situation, every scandal is followed by a rebrand, a narrative, and another attempt at redemption. But fake images don't last forever. Eventually, the cracks show, and the audience starts to notice, and this will eventually lead to self-destruction. That being said, it's yours truly, Prince. Thank you all for watching and the support. I will see you all in the next one.